Good evening, good afternoon, good morning, good whatever time it is, wherever you are, whoever you are. Welcome once again to Nerd Week Live, the show in which we, the folks at Nerd Caliber, talk to you about nerd news that happened over the past week since our last show, and hopefully interact with you, chat with you, etc. On our various streaming platforms. We're on YouTube, we're on Twitch, we are on Facebook. We'd love to have you guys on Twitch if you've got a Twitch account. Jump on over there. Twitch.tv/nerdcaliber. Couldn't be easier. But whatever platform works for you. I am Rodney Brown. I'm the editor-in-chief of Nerd Caliber, first-person shooter on Facebook as a cosplay photographer, Burley_adopter on Twitter, a couple of other places. And joining me tonight is the very red, the wonderful color style of Lewis. Introduce yourself if you would.
It's very good that you said red and didn't call me a blood or anything like that, because then you might get me murdered on stream or something like that. So.
Oh, no. First, I didn't think of it, and I might have if I had, but, because I'm that dumb. But I'd like to think I'm not that dumb.
Well, it's always great to be back, and I love being here. So it's Luis Correa, also known as Crash the Stampede on Twitch. If you guys want to go check me out, play some video games. Sometimes I will play with other friends that are creators. It's a lot of fun to be a part of. So it's always great to see people there. And as Rodney said, it's gonna be fantastic if you guys interact with the chat with us, and just it's a real live show. We do look at the content that you guys say, the things that you guys say, and we like to reply to it as best as we can. And we have some really cool stuff to talk about tonight. So I'm looking forward to getting into these topics.
Cool, interesting, surprising, and all sorts of different things on our topic list tonight. Speaking of people in the chat, Luminous, hello, welcome back to the show. And because we've got a lot of topics, we're going to jump right into it, folks. And the first one is one of the most recent things that dropped. And that is what are they calling it? Teaser? It's not a trailer, but it's longer than a trailer. Anyway, for Cowboy Bebop, this teaser called The Lost Sessions, they put up, and it is phenomenal. If you haven't seen it, if you're a Cowboy Bebop fan, and if you're looking forward to the show, go check it out. If you're not sure about the show, really go check it out. It's pretty amazing. I was instantly captivated by the creativity of the editing, for one thing. But then also the interplay between the three main characters is perfect. It is anime perfect. Lewis, what'd you think of it?
I thought it was fantastic. From the moment I saw it, I thought it was great. I actually had a discussion with some friends about it too, which is that I always have one friend who's like kind of fucking pragmatic about shit, and he's just like, I don't know if I like it because of the way it looks, and I don't like the and I'm like, bro, like, so one, not to be too much of that person, but it's emulating the intro to the anime by having the different cuts and the comic book style barriers and things like that. But also, like, I personally, I don't know, so don't necessarily quote me on this, but I don't think it's going to follow that pattern of those comic brackets or anything like that. I think that was just like a sort of stylized fun thing to showcase some of the combat interactions and the locales and things like that, like something to give you a little bit of everything to tease you into what an episode might look like. But who knows,
Yeah.
It might be a little bit of A, a little bit of B.
So if you haven't seen it, what he's talking about, I'm going to bring the image back up there. You can see the three characters there are all divided by fairly comic book panel style dividers, except they're black, not white. And in the very fast edits between their interactions or the action scenes or anything that's going on, they play with those panels. Like, grab them and push them away and bring them back into spot. They angle them. It's all done by the characters in the scene. It's brilliant editing, but it also just would not work in any kind of narrative, flowing 28-minute episode or whatever. So yeah, I'm pretty sure, and like Lewis said, I don't know, but I'm pretty sure that was a stylistic choice for this teaser thing, and that's not going to be the way the episodes play out. There's nothing in the anime that would indicate that that would make sense. Now,
Like you it was showing off like a lot of stuff. Like you saw like a little bit of Vicious. You
Yep.
saw like Spike doing his Jeet Kune Do, the upside down bicycle kick thing. Like
Yeah.
all it was just like fun to show that off and like to kind of like fourth wall break a little bit, just for people, you know, fourth wall breaking in the sense of characters who like break the free space. That's what Doom Patrol calls it, the free space between panels.
And we'll get to some Doom Patrol news later. So yeah, if you're at all remotely interested in this live action Netflix version of Cowboy Bebop, check this out. Maybe the way they're playing with the panels might turn you off, like Lewis's friend was potentially turned off. But I thought it was absolutely amazing. And again, I had no illusions that this is going to be the way the show was going to be presented. But yeah, check it out. So one of the reasons why I'm calling it a teaser is both Netflix and John Cho tweeted out earlier today that an actual trailer, like the official first real trailer, drops next week. So this thing, Cowboy Bebop: The Lost Sessions, wasn't their trailer. Just a thing to get us all jazzed up. And apparently in this article, starting Thursday, the anime hits Netflix.
Oh yeah.
So you can watch the anime in advance. And of course, November 9th is when this whole thing drops. 9th or 19th? I know there's a 9 there. 19th. So looking forward to it. Check it out, folks. All right, our next topic. This is based on something that I didn't even know existed. And apparently there's an awful lot of people who do. That is an image from the mobile game Twisted Wonderland. The news here coming out of Crunchyroll is that an anime is going to be made about this mobile game. What Twisted Wonderland is a sort of reinterpretation of Disney villains as a bunch of students attending Night Raven College. If the artwork looks at all familiar to you, it is because this whole thing, the game, and apparently also the upcoming anime that's going to be made out of it, was created as a concept, scenario was written by, and the characters were designed by Yana Toboso, the creator of Black Butler. So if you don't get Black Butler vibes out of that, I don't know what you've been paying attention to. But they're making an anime out of it. And doesn't say when it's going to happen in this article here on Crunchyroll. But apparently this game is one of the biggest hits in Japan and generally all over Asia right now. So who knew?
Not me. Not my cup of tea, I'll tell you that.
Oh yeah, I mean, not mine either. I hate mobile games. I play none of them. And this concept, I've never watched Black Butler as popular as it is. So this really doesn't hit my wheelhouse, but it's big news with big people. I mean, the creator of Black Butler.
Yeah, I kind of rolled that in my eye a little bit just because the concept of adult villains as teenagers or whatever,
Yeah.
not teenagers.
Well, they're in
sort of.
college, so they might be older teenagers, but they're certainly
School.
not minors.
They're in school, which is
Yes.
more than enough.
Yeah.
High school, college, one's just more liberal than the other.
Yes. Yeah, but hey, for the market that it's intended for, it's huge.
Yeah, I mean, I nowadays I try not to like take a dump on people's like enjoyment. Like, if you're one of those people that like that, good for you, man. Here's something more for you.
Now, most mobile game adaptations into anime suck. So we'll have to see where this goes. All right. Next topic. speaking of things I didn't really know existed, one, the books, and two, the fact that there's a movie coming out. These are all 10 of the books in T.A. Barron's Merlin series. Merlin, The Lost Years, I think is the name of the first one, and that's generally the term for all of them. And it's a story of Merlin before he meets Arthur, before he's, the old, powerful wizard that, we know from the legends and the various stories. The news is that Disney is making a live-action movie based on at least the first book. According to Deadline, exclusive, as I've said many times before, Deadline's exclusives are pretty solid. They have inside sources, and they are actually really inside sources. Deadline, Hollywood Reporter, Variety, papers like that. And the other part of this news is that it's being directed by Michael Matthews, who directed Love and Monsters. A movie that came out have you seen it?
Yeah, I was feeling it. And like a lot of things, there's always those slow parts, but for the most part, like that was a pretty good movie.
Yeah, it was really well reviewed. I haven't seen it yet, but it came out last fall and apparently went right to paid video on demand and was one of the most successful video on demand releases. So the guy's got talent. No, according to this thing, it is real early days. So one, we don't even know if it will actually ultimately wind up going to fruition. But if this guy's got 10 books in the series, that gives Disney a lot of stuff to mine if it turns out to be popular. So
yeah, I mean, just young Merlin being horny all the time. That's what 9 times out of 10 when you see like a this is what Merlin did before he helped King Arthur. It's just Merlin being horny.
Yeah,
that's what it is.
That could be. I haven't read any of the books. In doing image searches to try to find something, I found an awful lot of images of the map. So apparently most of this action takes place somewhere not Earth. I mean, certainly not England. It seems to be Avalon, or and other islands around that. So the sort of Irish myth of the land to the west, which you can't really get to unless you're dead or you're special or whatever. So that seems to be where the action takes place. And there's lots of dragons, and it's really, really magic heavy.
Right, the horny land.
And maybe horny land. Yeah, I don't know. Again, haven't read it. But yeah, so very early days. We don't know if or even when this is going to happen, who's going to get any casting, anything like that.
As long as it's better than that, what was it, like 2015? I'm just trying to take a shot in the dark here, like that 2015 Merlin, which wasn't terrible, but that ending was kind of like, man, really, you're gonna Bruce Banner this guy?
So you mean the series?
Yeah.
Yeah. I watched maybe a couple of episodes. I didn't watch the whole thing. I know we both have friends who are big fans of it. People who have cosplayed from it because they like it so much. So, yeah. All right, moving on to our next one. This again just dropped yesterday. This image is, of course, Doctor Strange. This is from the upcoming Spider-Man No Way Home. It doesn't have anything to do with that, but I wanted to pick a recent Doctor Strange to sort of highlight the fact that his movie, Doctor Strange 2 Multiverse of Madness, is in this announcement. Marvel has announced that they are going to be pushing back, mostly, almost all of the Phase 4 movies that were scheduled to come out in 2022 and 2023. By a couple of months in some cases, by many months in some cases. And in one case, moving forward by a couple of days, which is weird. But I don't want to go into all of these. Well, I guess I can do real quickly. So the Doctor Strange moves from March to this coming May. Thor: Love and Thunder moves from May to July. Black Panther: Wakanda Forever moves from July all the way to November. The Marvels moves from November into 2023, February of 2023. Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania from February all the way into July of 2023. They took completely off the schedule two untitled projects, which were scheduled for July and October of 2023. And then have moved a third untitled from, get this, November 10th, 2023 to November 3rd, 2023. 1 week. Moved it up. Everything else has been kicked forward. So one of our team members, Cowrie, had an actually pretty sharp comment in the group that we post this stuff in, that this may have been done in anticipation of both the possibility of the IATSE strike that almost happened, and or the conditions of the agreement, since the strike didn't happen, and some of those agreements include longer breaks in between projects. So that might be part of why this is happening.
Sounds about right.
Waifu Pennywise, welcome to the show. Welcome back. Luminous, I think the Love and Monsters director would do a good job with a Merlin story, but I do fear the show will be bland. Movie right now, Luminous. But yeah, it could be. I haven't seen it. I haven't seen Love and Monsters, so yeah, I can't really weigh in on his directing style.
Down and watch it one day, man.
Yeah, I should. I mean, I've seen great reviews of it. But anyway, yeah. So you were saying about the Marvel movie changes.
Yeah, no, I mean, I agree with Cowrie. Like, it's probably because of the strike. You know, good on the strikers. You know, get what you owe. Get what you owe.
Exactly. And you know, in case you didn't know this, the IATSE represents a lot of the sort of production line workers within the industry. So costumers and designers and people like that who don't have their own specific union, like the Directors Guild of America and so on. And apparently, they are treated like because they are freelancers, but like freelance contractors in not really the best way possible.
Like shit is how I would say it.
Or you could say like that. Now, granted, some of them do make pretty good money if they are working all the time. But that's a big part of it. And every one of them I'm sorry.
A lot of them have to make, because I know quite a few of them, and a lot of them got to make some ridiculous sacrifices to stay with their craft, and like some of the stuff that's asked of them. I mean, I can't go into details for reasons, but like some of the stuff that's just asked of them is just like ridiculous and shouldn't be asked of a person trying to earn a living.
Yeah. Yeah. So that would make sense. And hey, if it means that I have to wait 2.5 extra months, actually not even that, March 25th to May 6th, 1.5 extra months to go see the Doctor Strange sequel. And that means the people I know in the industry in Atlanta and LA and so on are being treated better. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I agree. Like, if you're a person that's going to get mad that these movies got pushed back because people want benefits and a better way of life, then you're a piece of shit. I'm going to be honest. You're a piece of shit.
And we don't know that's the primary reason why this happened. It is said that most of the speculation is about production.
Yeah, just anticipating, most likely. Right. Just getting ready, just in case.
Just in case. All right, now, speaking of Marvel and pieces of... anyway.
I got poo-poo.
Yeah, exactly. That is Marvel Editor-in-Chief C.B. Cebulski. The news is that Marvel writer Stephen S. DeKnight quit recently, left Marvel, over the fact that nothing has been done about Cebulski's admitted use of a Japanese name before he was named editor, to get contracts to write Marvel comics that were supposed to go just to Asian creators. back in 2017, when this was announced, in like our 4th month of ever doing the show, we talked about it, about that fact, about how, as I recall, and I can't find the videos for this, that, you know, we were both, or all of us on the show, were thinking, okay, this guy ain't gonna last long.
Yeah, and here we are, 2021.
4 years later, more than 4 years later now,
Yeah.
4 years and some months, he's still in there. The only reported action is this, you know, resignation from DeKnight. Now, DeKnight is not a small name. He is a Marvel Comics writer, and he's written a few comics, but he's primarily known as, in the television and movie field, mostly television. And he was a co-producer or executive producer, and etc., going back to Angel, Smallville, Dollhouse, and then got up into the Marvel world. He was showrunner for Daredevil.
Nice. Daredevil was really good.
And Daredevil was really good. That's why he was hired to be the showrunner for Jupiter's Legacy, which, you know, but he wrote much of Daredevil. He wrote all of Jupiter's Legacy, the scripts, not the original comics. You know, he's not a small name. And maybe this is going to get other people to say, yeah, you know, this guy pretending to be a Japanese guy so he can steal money that was intended to go just to Asian comic creators. Maybe he really shouldn't be the editor-in-chief of your publication.
Yeah, I think I'm going to touch base real quick on this, in that I've heard a lot of people defending his action and saying like, oh, it's not a big deal. You know, it's, you know, he's amplified a lot of Asian writers and cartoonists and artists over the years while in his tenure as editor-in-chief, and so on and so forth. Brother, if you got to fucking pretend to be a different race and culture to take money from those people, from that race and that culture, and then turn around and be like, but I'm trying to help you, but you ain't helping nobody. You're taking work from people. You're not helping. So because you did it later on in your life, but you used it as a stepping stone to get to where you are, that sounds more like you're fucking guilty to me than you sound like you're doing something from a good place.
Yeah, there was nothing a good place about this. Since then, yes, maybe, sure, he's helped bring, you know, more Asian creators to the fore. That's not, we're not talking about what he's done since then. He committed fraud. There's no
Absolutely.
other way to describe what he did.
Yeah, a lot of people have defended him because he's amplified Asian creators now as an editor-in-chief. But that, again, if you got to step on the backs of slaves to free slaves, then you still kind of fucked up. Exactly.
Luminous, it's weird that DeKnight just found this out. I wonder what's happening with DeKnight's career. I think his Netflix contract ended. It might have. I don't think so. I thought he had a pretty deep development contract. Granted, they killed Jupiter's Legacy real fast. But, you know, the guy's got a track record that clearly anybody's going to pick him up. So, and why it took so long for him to at least react, I can't imagine somebody working for Marvel not knowing this.
I'm going to go on a limb and say that, like, this is the culmination of a bunch of shit. Like, I'm pretty sure he tried to go up the ladder initially and voice his concerns in that regard, and then they didn't want to do anything. So this was it. This was like, I'm done. I've tried everything, and now I'm done. I'm stepping out of this. And I'm gonna say it out loud because I couldn't say it out loud before. Some people do take that approach, you know, work it within the company.
Yep.
I don't think he just was just like, I found this out yesterday and I'm that pissed off, I'm gonna quit.
Yeah, that very well may be the case. He also hasn't been writing for Marvel all along. He was the showrunner for Daredevil, and then since Daredevil ended, he's been writing some Marvel comics and you know, doing other stuff like Jupiter's Legacy and so on. So, you know, he hasn't been inside the Marvel camp other than Daredevil for, you know, for a long time. I'm kind of shocked that Feige hasn't done anything about this. Feige now runs everything, you know, and that includes Marvel Comics. You know, he is in charge, as far as Disney is concerned, for everything Marvel. Remember, he got that title, you know, after the success of Endgame. Um, Enough people should be, you know, bitching about this that Feige steps in. And I don't get. Maybe he's the best guy in the world. Maybe he's like an absolutely wonderful editor in chief, and you know, that's great. He committed fraud by cheating people of a particular ethnic group out of money that was intended solely for that ethnic group. Just anyway. We'll keep following this, but then again, we said that 4 years ago.
Yeah, if he doesn't get punished, that's going to send a bad signal to literally what Disney always talks about, their core values and all that bullshit.
Yep. Yeah, I don't get it. I really, really, really don't get it. But hey, hopefully we will actually follow this up with something of interest, and it won't take another 4 years. All right, folks. It's FanDome time. There was so much news, there's no way to avoid it at this point. Everything from this point on was news that dropped at DC FanDome. So some of the stuff we're going to go through pretty quickly. Some of the stuff, you know, there's stuff here that's worth discussing in depth. First up, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I just said let's do it.
Let's do it. First up, one of the things that dropped was quite a bit of information about the upcoming Shazam sequel. Not Black Adam, that's a different thing. We'll be talking about that later. The Shazam sequel, Shazam! Fury of the Gods. And the only image worth bringing up, this is because I'm running it, so this is my opinion, Dame Helen Mirren as a god. That's all you need to know, folks. Go watch the teaser information. It's a lot of behind-the-scenes stuff, but you do get to see some action. And yeah, I could have picked, you know, they've updated the designs of the suits for the whole family, not just Zachary Levi's, you know, Shazam character. You know, there are plenty of other things. It's Dame Helen Mirren as a god. What more do you people need? So I thought it was very interesting.
Horny jail, buddy.
Well, hey. Dame Helen Mirren forever and always. And Lucy Liu, by the way, also playing another god.
I love that. You're just like, Dame Helen, she's a god, and
there's Lucy Liu's in it too.
Lucy Liu, yeah.
Okay. You know, it looks really good. What we've seen of it. They show a number of the locations that they're in, which are both set and digital. And there's apparently enough of that's been made of the digital stuff that they can actually show this, and it's just spectacular. You know, it's not a pretty interesting, icy looking cave, and then, you know, what city is he in? Philadelphia? I think it's
and I just watched the movie like a month ago.
Philadelphia, and then a circus. You know, it's like, okay, well, that's cool. And I mean, they're obviously putting a lot of money into this one.
Yeah, the first one was so damn good.
It was a huge
hit. Long. Yeah, it took me quite a while to come around to it. But when I watched it, I was like, man, why can't all the DC movies be like this? Like fun and engaging and interesting. Like I don't want to clone Marvel in their capacity at movies, but like, come on, man, this grim dark blue filter bullshit, come on, is enough, man. We don't need Batman and everything.
And then you can go too far and you get Aquaman.
This guy is always hating on Aquaman, but I like Aquaman. Always hating.
Everybody has their taste.
Yeah.
You know what? I didn't put in Aquaman in here. Why didn't I?
Because you hate it so much.
Because I hate it so much. I even said, I looked at the stuff I'll talk about Aquaman now. I looked at the stuff they put out there in that segment of FanDome. And I actually thought, like, wow, this looks way better than the first movie. And I bet because they're not saddled with having to tell this origin story, that it's going to be a better movie. So
I think for the most part, anytime it's not an origin movie, they tend to be really good because origin movies are just exhausting.
Yeah. Yeah. Particularly if, because you've got to figure out a way to cram what is probably, multiple issues of a comic into, a story and then tell another story around it so it's not just an origin. Tough to do. So this is also a DC property. Most people don't remember this, but Sandman, which is a Netflix series that's coming up, had very little in FanDome except we got the first look at Gwendolyn Christie as Lucifer, which is up on your screen right now, and that's awesome.
As long as they don't throw her down a trash can chute, we're good. That's a good start.
Yeah, I mean, she's not wearing silver armor, and so there's a plus.
Yeah, we're not wasting potential.
You can actually see her face, or in this case, their face. The character is genderless, completely genderless. So, yeah, it looks great. I really like it. And that's really the only thing that they put out about Sandman. There was no real detail in this particular one, FanDome. Another bit of news that they put out, guess what? Superman's changed his motto. This is Jonathan Kent's Superman, who is in fact the upcoming Superman. And they put out the news just slightly prior to this that, he is, as has been said for months now, because they've been leading up to it, he is canonically bisexual. And, the idiot boys lost their minds, as they would. But the news is they've changed his motto to truth, justice, and a better world. A better tomorrow. That's great. This article on CNN has it twice, and they got the first time they got it wrong. Nice job, CNN.
Nice. Get it, CNN.
Get it. Good. Truth, justice, and a better tomorrow.
They probably have John Kent listed as bisexual BAI.
Because he's shopaholic. Yeah. And Jim Lee came out and made the announcement about this in the FanDome and saying that, it's pretty much time that, he is a character for the whole world, and we need a slogan that represents the same sort of positivity, but for the whole world. So,
yes. And for those of you who like to bitch about comic book characters, even though you literally don't fucking read a goddamn comic book, Superman renounced his American citizenship quite a couple of years ago and became citizen of the world, so to speak. So this motto is just a reflection of that, and it's awesome because it should make more sense that a hero that can fly at the speed of sound and crisscross the world isn't just focused on one tiny continent with a whole lot of shitty ass problems.
Or even one tiny country in one tiny continent. So yeah, that's yay, good for you, DC. Both with the making Jonathan canonically bisexual, and from everything I've read, I haven't read the comic, in probably the most honest and accurate and what's the other word? I can't think of the other word I'm looking. Depiction of that realization and growing awareness and coming out that a lot of people in the bisexual community have ever seen. So,
yeah, absolutely. From what I understand, it was really great, and it wasn't a Marvel Iceman, you're gay and let us rip it out of your mind, foobar nonsense. And real quick, for those people who are bitching about John Kent being bisexual, like, y'all obsessed really too much about sexuality on a fictional character. You go see therapy, because that might be telling on yourself.
There you go. All right, we got a bunch of renewals.
Say it. Doom Patrol, say it.
I'm gonna say it as soon as I get the right image up, because I grabbed the wrong damn thing. There we go. So Doom Patrol. Doom Patrol has been renewed for a season 4 while they are just in the middle of season 3.
Which is so good.
Which is so good. Honestly, I'm only 3 episodes now into season 3. So I definitely got to get back into it. But right out of the gate, so I thought season 2 was way better than season 1. I had some real serious problems with season 1. And season 3, is looking to be even better. The addition of Michelle Gomez as come on, give me the character name. The time traveler, Madame Rouge. Madame Rogue.
Sure.
No, Rouge. Madame Rouge. Had to look at the spelling. It is wonderful. Coming off of Doctor Who, it's a great addition to the cast.
Yes, the show has literally been amazing. Please watch the damn show. Because my biggest goddamn bugaboo in terms of Doom Patrol is it's such a phenomenally well-written show about really fucked up superheroes. And they show so much respect to people and mental trauma and physical trauma and a whole lot of issues that you don't normally address with superheroes, or people attempt to address with superheroes and fail dramatically at. It's wonderful, it's engaging, and there's so many like gay, straight, trans, non-binary characters in the show. And this is a show people always talk about, like, I want this show, I want a show like this with heroes and tackling these topics and da. But then you don't watch the goddamn thing. Enjoy it. See the things that you want portrayed in front of you. See it, watch it, enjoy it. Make it so we get like season 8 of the damn thing. And Brendan Fraser, come on.
He's so good. Everybody is so good in this. I do have to say, one of the biggest highlights of season 1, and again, even though I did have some issues, generally the representation, and particularly the anything involving Danny the Street. Just so fun, so so positive.
And using what you said for a second here, the fact that you found 2 better than 1 and 3 is shaping up to be better than 2, that's natural progression of story. That's fantastic. When you can see it in that way, that 2 arguably can be better than 1, and then 3 is shaping up to be good as or better than 2, that is a good indicator of a great show.
Yeah, and they obviously learned, I think, because obviously my opinion is more important than anything else in the world because I'm a human. They realized what some of those issues with season 1 were, and they were not there in season 2. Anyway, also renewed for a season 4 in the middle of its run, actually just about the end of its run, of season 3, Titans. Yeah, and there are people who have more issues with Titans. I enjoy it. I don't enjoy it as much as Doom Patrol. But they are wildly different shows.
Yeah, I wouldn't make that argument in any capacity.
Yeah,
I just don't like it in general for a lot of different reasons. But also, again, we know for 5 years now, my biggest bugaboo is the goddamn blue filter. Like, can we stop?
And yeah, and this is very much in the keeping with the tonal theme of Dark Knight and so on. It's violent. It's actually more violent than Dark Knight, more profane. They curse a lot in this show.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's interesting.
I'll tell you, man, let me win Powerball. I'll put all my billions towards making a TV that can just remove blue filter. That's it. They'll find a way. If I have to get AI, I don't care.
Yeah. And then of course, you know that Zack Snyder and Christopher Nolan and so on will come up with a way to override. Take them out. And also renewed, this time for season 3, is the series Pennyworth, which, if you haven't seen any of it, that would be not surprising. Its first 2 seasons were on the network Epix, which not a whole lot of people have, or probably aren't aware that they have on their basic cable. Yeah. Which is kind of too bad, but it's a really good show. It tells the story of recently out of the military Alfred Pennyworth in 1960s London, establishing himself as I don't know if a detective agency is the right term, more of a fixer.
Yeah, wasn't he? And he's had so many like reiterations of his origin, but he was also like MI6, right? And if I recall, at one point.
Maybe I don't remember that specifically, but then again, I'm not a DC expert. So if
Yeah,
somebody does remember this in the chat, feel free to jump in and let us know whether at some point in the DC canon, Alfred was MI6. He was definitely British Special Services.
yeah, yeah. And I know in Batman Taz they showed him as like MI6.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure if 100% in the comic that is also an origin. I think Earth One it's an origin.
Yeah.
But no, I mean I didn't really I heard of the show, and I never like got around to catching an episode because I was like, what are you gonna do about Alfred? Like like what are you gonna do? How are you gonna make this
So
worthwhile to watch?
imagine Guy Ritchie making a series about Alfred.
So you already just told me you know what gets me hot, man.
I mean, he has deep gangster connections that he uses. He is not at all afraid to get violent or to utilize the influence and power of some of these gangster connections. He's a pretty morally complex character. While still being, obviously he's, a nice guy and he's charming as hell, and Jack Bannon, who plays him, is perfect. Um, when he and the actor who plays Thomas Wayne, Ben Aldridge, were on FanDome doing their, preview, Bannon he's got these like big ass sideburns. And I'm like,
Old chops.
what? And it says, oh, and then he says, hey, and then there's a 5-year time jump. So season 3 goes from early mid-ish 60s to the swingin' 60s, late 60s in London. And I can't
Alfred's
wait.
gonna crush puss.
They are probably gonna. Anyway, so yeah, all of those are renewed for new seasons. All of them on HBO Max, by the way. Um, Now we know that Doom Patrol and Titans moved to HBO Max last year for this current season that is running, but same thing for Pennyworth. And they did say that all of the previous 2 seasons will be available to watch on HBO Max. I think he said in January, and I can't remember.
All right, that's something to do in January.
Yep. So definitely check them out. All right. Hold on a second here while I readjust this image that got completely screwed up for some reason. And
Wonder Woman.
our next topic, that is Patty Jenkins and Gal Gadot on, I believe, the set of the first movie, Wonder Woman. And the news is that there is officially announced a Wonder Woman 3 in the works. This was announced at a segment with Patty Jenkins and Linda Carter, of all things. And if you've seen Wonder Woman 1984, is this a spoiler at this point? Anyway, Wonder Woman 3 will in fact have Gal Gadot coming back, of course, but also Linda Carter will be in it.
All right. I guess you got to meet her sometime, right?
Exactly. So, I'm looking forward to this. I really want Patty Jenkins to fix Wonder Woman again after 1984. The movie was...
That movie never should have happened. Not in that way, anyways.
Yep.
That movie was just fucking awful.
Thank you. That's a
Yeah.
good way to put it.
Yeah.
It was not a good movie.
And people out there watching understand that I try to give every movie. That's why Rodney and I disagree on movies a lot, because I try to give movies a lot of like leeway, especially comic book movies. I try to give them a lot of leeway in terms of like writing and shit. For me to say some shit is fucking awful, you just got to know it hit me the wrong way, like gas after Taco Bell. Like it just hit wrong. It was so bad. I could go for, I'm not gonna, but I could go for days about how much I disliked it. And that should tell you that 3 needs to redeem everything.
Yep. Yeah. So come on, Patty. You're an amazing filmmaker. Absolutely amazing. There's no question about it. Monster.
Yeah, seriously, Patty, I'm all listen. If like producers start like riding your ass, because that's I'm gonna give you a little leeway and say that that's probably what happened with two. If they're gonna ride your ass, just walk, man. I'd rather you just not make a third movie than just make it worse.
Yep. Um, Luminous Wonder Woman 1984 was such a huge disappointment, and sadly, I do not expect the third movie to be any good. I'm going to give her the credit of the doubt because Wonder Woman was fantastic. Again, she's a brilliant filmmaker. Monster is one of the most disturbing things you'll ever see. She can get fantastic performances out of people. Clearly, again from Monster. Um,
Yeah.
it's all there. The problem, one of the biggest problems with Wonder Woman 1984 is Patty Jenkins is not a screenwriter, and she wrote this movie. And it shows. It clearly shows. I'm hoping that they will go back to getting like an experienced screenwriter to craft, even if she comes up with a story, to craft the actual script.
Yeah, agreed. And also, I'll say this: I'll say probably 90% chance that this is gonna be a modern movie, like as in like right now, as opposed to like 84 and 30s, 1930 something or 20 something. Sorry, I forget where World War One falls in.
17, or
Thank you.
And then a couple of years later.
So like it is sometimes harder to write for those kind of older dates than it is for a modern thing. So I think there's a lot more leeway in terms of a modern telling of Wonder Woman at this point.
I agree, and so we're both obviously way more hopeful than you are, Luminous. But it could be. God, I hope not. But it could be. A big miss. What doesn't look like a big miss, based on the little bit of actual footage from the show that we got to see, is Ava DuVernay's take on Brian Michael Bendis's comic book Naomi. It's a CW show, and we got to see a little bit of Casey Walfall, who's on the screen right now, actually, in the show. It is the least CW looking thing I've seen on CW in years. You can tell that DuVernay is really putting her fantastic chops as a filmmaker behind making this series. And I'm really looking forward to it because it's on CW. Naomi is again, it's a character created. I think it's the first comic book that Brian Michael Bendis made, as opposed to writing stuff that already existed when he got to DC, when he left Marvel and went to DC. Yeah. I'm sorry.
No, I was agreeing with you. So yeah.
And so she is deeply a superhero character in the DC universe. This isn't a Elseworlds. That's not what I'm looking for. The imprint that Sandman was under.
Vertigo,
or any of the other, sort of alternate publishing titles that DC has. This is a DC character, superhero character, and so any of the superhero characters that are already in the CW could make a crossover into this. And boy, would I like to see a Grant Gustin, Barry Allen Flash under Ava DuVernay's control as a director and series maker.
To answer your question, Luminous, I have read some Naomi comics, and they're actually really good. I would recommend them. And Naomi, the character Naomi, and the progression of the character itself is really well done, because when Naomi first came out, a lot of Black creators were way behind it and still are, and a lot of her popularity came from the fact that a lot of people of color were really pushing for this character, for a lot of different reasons, but because we want our own heroes. We don't want, some people don't want Black Superman, some people do want Black Superman. That's opinion on either side, whatever. But to have a character independently created and functional within a greater universe. We promote, you promote, and you push that, and that pushing has led to this show. And so like there's a lot of tied up into this show as well. But definitely go check out the books. The comic books are really good and they're really worth it.
Yeah, I haven't read any of the Naomi books. I read the first couple of issues of his um it's not Titans, his other young team book. Um what the heck was the name of it? I can't remember it. But it was really good. I mean, Bendis is a great writer.
Yeah.
No way around it. So if you like the DC stuff, I would highly recommend going to check out any of his stuff, including and specifically Naomi, because of this. Again, I haven't read it. Just what I understand from the sort of progression of the character and the importance of the character. It's kind of DC's Kamala Khan. You know, you've got a character of color, you know, a younger female superhero who we get to watch their growth into an actual hero, full-blown hero.
She's not taking after anyone, which is great.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm looking forward to this. The teaser doesn't show much, but it, you know, it gives you a feel of what the series will look like. So the Batman, we finally got to see it. We got to see you know, more footage of the Batman. This is one of the scenes where, you know, he's I think mostly fully decked out in his final look. Of course, you know, getting ready to punch the crap out of somebody, which is, you know, kind of what he does. You know, this is Batman year 1 or 2 influenced. So he's still feeling out how he, you know, reacts to things and how he wants to be, you know, this character that instills fear in, you know, the criminals of Gotham. We also get to see an awful lot more of Zoe Kravitz as Catwoman. Come on, up there, up on the screen now. This is not actually from this. This is from apparently some footage was leaked a few weeks ago. And this is one of those scenes where she's obviously breaking into something. But yeah, excellent take on Catwoman.
Yeah. Got a little taste of that Halle Berry Catwoman in there, and it was. Mm-hmm. You know, I haven't seen so many of my male friends have an uncomfortable boner since John Kent coming out as bisexual. That's too
zing. Got him. But yeah, I mean, she is wonderful. Her take on the character is really good. It's definitely influenced by Selina Kyle from The Dark Knight, or The Dark Knight Returns, the Frank Miller book, but not necessarily fully in that direction. There's also elements of, like I said, Halle Berry's character in here. It looks really good. You do get to see the back of the Riddler's head. You know, it's clearly Paul Dano, but they never show his face throughout the rest of the, you know, the trailer or the teaser information that they put out. And
I like that though. I'll be honest. I'm because, you know, maybe he's gonna do one of those like you think it's this person, but it's actually this person kind of thing.
Right. And maybe. So a lot of people have pointed out that there's an awful lot of at least influence of the Court of Owls in this teaser. And particularly, you know, Batman is shown here with something that looks almost exactly like the weapons Talon uses, the enforcer for the Court of Owls, as opposed to the, you know, shark fins or whatever.
Flanges, right? I think they're going flanges.
Flange, yeah, very good. It's a flange. It is, in fact, a flange. It's a very pointy, edgy flange, but... and so that may be part of the story here, that, you know, maybe we get to the Court of Owls stuff. That also may be just something that's being set up for further movies.
That'd be dope, man. Because they're finally doing that in Gotham Knights,
Yep.
the video game. Yeah, that's Court of Owls is Court of Owls. Court of Owls. Court of
I'll have a
the
quart of
court.
owls, please.
Yeah, Court of Owls. Top me off, please, sir. Yeah, that's such a phenomenal storyline that hasn't really been touched in terms of like animated and live action. So like it's really something. I don't want to go into it for time and because read it, man. I want you guys to read it. I don't want to tell you about it. Just read it.
Yep.
It's good. It's really good.
Yeah. And honestly, so I don't have. They did show more gameplay stuff from Gotham Knights, where allegedly Bruce is dead, and so Nightwing, Batgirl, Red Hood, and Robin, Damian Robin, are all.
Is it? I thought it was Tim Drake Robin.
No, I think it's Damian.
Because Damien uses a sword.
That's a good point. Maybe it is Tim Drake. In which case, I'd be a little less interested because I want to see Damien go ham on Court of Owls. But even with four of these people, again, not giving anything away from the Court of Owls, they got their work cut out for them. That is one of the better new creations of a really difficult group of villains for Batman to handle in a long time. Anyway,
it is Tim Drake.
It is Tim Drake. Dang it. All right. Oh well.
And just to be clear, Gotham Knights doesn't take place after the last Batman video game. It's like a separate universe thing.
Yeah. Because obviously, in this one, allegedly, Batman's dead. Bruce Wayne is dead. Yeah. So yeah, check out the trailer for the Batman. If you are interested, you'll be more interested. If you weren't, I don't know that this is going to change your mind. Although again, Zoe Kravitz might. That's even in what we see there, that's a really good performance.
Yeah, the way she, I'll see, Rodney and I being photographers, we notice things, and some people might also notice it who aren't experienced in that set. But the way her posing is in a lot of those scenes, it's perfect. Like there's just a felineness to how she poses and places her feet in such a way, and how she extends her legs. There's one particular pose where she's with Robert Pattinson, and she's kind of leaning away from him, but her legs are forward, almost touching his foot, almost touching his foot, and it's just a power dynamic pose to see.
Yep. Yeah, and that's not like, oh, that's Zoe Kravitz's default. If you look at any of the other characters she'd played in Fury Road or in X-Men First Class, they're all different physical takes to a character. So that was, I think, a pretty clear conscious decision on her part, and a good one.
Yeah.
All right. Next to the last topic out of FanDome, and therefore for the show, Peacemaker. As always, whenever James Gunn runs a reveal from anything, whether it's his Guardians of the Galaxy Marvel stuff, or here, or the Suicide Squad stuff, or here with the Peacemaker series, it's a lot of fun. It always is. And there's this was a lot of fun too. But you also got to see a lot more of the people, the characters that are going to be in the show. So obviously that's John Cena's Peacemaker. That's Vigilante in the green and white, green, black, and white next to him.
I haven't heard in a long time.
And apparently he might be crazier than Peacemaker.
Yeah, sounds about right for Vigilante. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's absolutely irreverent. There are images that I didn't put up here that I probably thought might get us demonetized. It looks hilarious. I really can't wait to see this, for no other reason than the supporting cast. I think John Cena is going to be great. I thought he was excellent in the Suicide Squad, but they did not skimp on getting just the right wildly inventive people for the supporting cast. So,
yeah. James Gunn does a like a fantastic job of just having the right amount of background people saying the funniest shit or interacting in ways that just adds to the atmosphere of whatever's happening or undercuts the seriousness somehow without actually destroying it. Like it's very clever.
Yeah, and that's Gunn. You know, I've seen, I follow him on Twitter. I've seen when people ask him questions. You know, he is all for people improvising, but I think he said like 80%. It's probably higher of anything that winds up in the final cut is probably something he wrote. And you know, that's a mind that just I wish I had.
John Cena's great, man. He's such a I don't think I can't picture anyone visually in my head that plays such a great street man like John does. Like John Cena really just he's like that kind of person in everyone's friend group that you think doesn't know how to tell a joke until they say the funniest shit accidentally.
Yeah. Or say it on purpose, but in such a dry delivery that it takes you a few minutes to go, wait a minute, that was a joke and a good one.
Yeah, you just sit there questioning, like, are they serious? Or do they not know what?
Yeah. And you know, big shout out, John Cena, Massachusetts native. No, go Bay State. Yeah, go get warm again, Bay State. I don't know where it's like where you guys are, but you know, here on coastal Massachusetts, it got cold last night.
A little chilly.
A little chilly. Yeah. Anyway, our last topic, our last tease, our last thing out of FanDome, Black Adam.
Yeah.
So
for people who don't like people of color, I don't see color, Adam.
If you haven't seen this, if you're at all excited, go watch the teaser stuff that they put out here. This image up here is where you first see Dwayne Johnson, of course, as Black Adam, using his power to essentially vaporize somebody in the most horribly electrocution, burning, and ultimately, you know, dissolving way you can imagine. He looks perfect. There is one scene in the trailer, you know, a bunch of mercs or something wind up coming into his cave, and he, you know, gets up because they've disturbed him, and somebody says, you know, I can't remember what starts somebody firing, but they start shooting at him with, you know, automatic weapons. Luminous. I'm not really sure what that symbol is. It's a blue thing with a sort of a rictus grin.
Frozen. It's cold.
He's cold. Oh, yes. I get it. Yes,
Chilly.
It was cold. Thank you for that. I'm not emoji proficient. Anyway, they shoot at him, and you've seen an awful lot of the, you know, dodging bullets or catching bullets. This is the best, just like you can just barely see the movement of his hand, and he stops a bullet. It looks like it's the right caliber, you know, a 225. And of course, it's not flattened. It hasn't hit him. So it is bullet shaped right out of the gun and just tick. And it's awesome. It's just one of like, what the hell is that? I'm really, really excited for this. We don't know anything further about the story, other than the fact that it does involve what seems to be characters from the Justice Society. Hawkman, Aldous Hodge, as the actor, he looks excellent. Pierce F. Brosnan as Dr. Fate.
Yeah, that was a treat. That was such a treat, man.
Yep. Yeah, everything about this looks great just from the little bit that we saw. And yeah, everybody said this all along. Of course, Dwayne Johnson was born to do this character.
I just want to see him be bad without being rock bad, you know? Because I can't really think of anything that he's acted in where he was a bad guy, where he wasn't over the top, like kind of sliding into his WWE persona. So
Yeah,
I kind
even in Doom, he started once it became clear that he was a bad guy. It was yeah.
yeah, that's my only like little like thing. Like my what I'm pausing on to before I fully embrace him is like I just want to see him be bad without being like wrestler bad. Like I'm sure he could pull it off because the guy's done a lot of like versatile roles over the years, and like he really commits. Like the guy, man, I don't even think in my world there's a 4:30 in the morning, but this guy gets up at like 4:30 in the morning.
Yeah, if you want to see one of the best takes on, the Rock, on Dwayne Johnson doing a wonderful performance, both comedic, dramatic, action filled, The Rundown.
Yes.
Go watch that movie. That is absolutely one of my favorites. I mean, anytime you can get, Dwayne Johnson. Um,
He was also really good in the sequel. I think it was the sequel to Get Shorty, or
no, he wasn't in that.
yeah, it was the one with John Travolta, and he's the shark, the not a shark, enforcer, like mafia type enforcer. He makes movies. The first one was about music. The second one was about movies.
No, the first one was about movies.
Yes, I'm sorry. Yeah, you're right. The first one was about movies. Second one was about the music business, and he ends up. The Rock is in that one, and he
Okay,
ends up being he's the gay bodyguard of somebody that's against the good guy, the arguable good guy. But the way he portrays it is like really, you don't expect it from Dwayne Johnson, but it comes out really well.
cool, awesome. I thought saw that, but maybe I didn't because I don't remember it being about the music business. So I guess I haven't seen it. Um, but yeah, so folks, check out this trailer. I can't imagine you not liking it, or teaser. It's just a little bits of teaser stuff. All of this stuff is, YouTube. Just go look up Black Adam, and it'll be one of the a million different websites will have put up their Black Adam version, IGN, and whatever.
Be
Um,
cool. That's the name of the sequel. Be cool. By the way,
hmm?
that's the name of the sequel of Get Shorty. Be cool.
That's
That's the
right.
one
Be
that has the
cool. You're
Rock
right.
in it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Um, anyway, folks, that's it. That's our topic. Those are all our topics. Lewis, do you have a could we please or could we not?
Um. No, no. Actually, I don't. Everything's been pretty the same as always. So
Yep. If I can remember it, I had a could we please or not, and I can't remember it, so never mind. Folks, if you do, as we're doing our goodbyes, if you get a chance to go check us out on Patreon, please do. It's right there on the screen, patreon.com/nerdcaliber. 3 tiers, $2 for the very lowest one. What we do with that Patreon money is we use it to go to more cons and get you more content and put more stuff up here on the YouTubes and on our website, nerdcaliber.com, and so on. So please do check it out if you get a chance. Our next show is Thursday, and it is the full fat spoiler chat about the movie on Netflix, Night Books. Kristen Ritter as a witch kidnaps some kids who try to figure out a way to get out of her house using the apparently thousands upon thousands of books that she has there. So looks interesting. That'll be our topic. Monday with No Nerd Caliber, and that will be our favorite science fiction worlds from any media of any kind. And the reason it's that topic is because next Thursday's full fat spoiler chat will be Dune, which drops this Friday. So check it out. Night Books this Thursday, Dune next Thursday. And we'll see you at one of those upcoming shows, I hope. Lewis, give us a goodbye.
well, it was fantastic. Thank you guys for joining us in the chat. I look forward to seeing you guys the upcoming week or two. We'll see. We'll see when I have some more free time. But as always, it's fantastic to be here with Rodney and bantering with him. I love Rodney to death. So for the rest of you guys, I'll see you soon at Twitch Crash the Stampede. If you want to look at any of my photos, it's Crash the Photos.
And there's plenty of galleries up on nerdcaliber.com to check those out too. And love you back, buddy. And for me, Rodney Brown, I'm out. Please, folks, stay safe. Stay warm if it's not warm where you are. And we will see you at an upcoming show. Good night.